going on, everyone? So the Brooklyn Nets have officially fired Steve Nash, and I don't think it's going to solve the problem. I really don't. Look, Steve Nash isn't a good coach by any means. The only reason he was kind of put there is just his relationship with Sean Marks, Kevin Durant even. He, had a good relationship with Kevin Durant, so they were thinking, put somebody that Durant likes in the position. They already had a well-established head coach that they got rid of for Nash, but it was kind of more of like this is our friend type thing. Let's give him a fair shake. Now, many people feel like Steve Nash really never got a fair job, which I do kind of understand. I mean, this was a mess from day one. A team of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant basically only winning one playoff series is just unexcusable, right? I mean, and then from day one, you heard the whole we don't really need a coach. And it was almost like it was doomed to fail in hindsight looking back. But this, I don't think, is going to be anything more than a Band-Aid temporarily, right? The head coach is always the first to go, and that's kind of your justification of we're doing something. But the problems with this team are much deeper, right? It's not just the head coach. It's an organizational thing all the way down. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving don't really seem to want to be there. We know that they don't want to be there. Kyrie Irving, all the talks going to Lakers. Kevin Durant demanding a trade. And you know that they wanted Steve Nash fired. I mean, Steve Nash came in and you could just see the tension. I mean, he was blowing up. He was getting ejected. I don't think Steve Nash is upset that he got fired at all. I think he is glad to be getting off of this sinking ship. And I also think, what coach is going to want to come in and be a part of this situation? I mean, seriously, it is an absolute mess with the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving's very likely just going to walk after this year, and you have no way to replace him or anything because you won't have any salary space. And if you don't trade him, then you get nothing in return. And then Kevin Durant's going to want out, so now you're trying to trade Kevin Durant, and you're in the middle as a new coach trying to establish all that. It's a total mess. And even if they did re-sign Kyrie Irving, do you really want that headache? You just saw the disaster it is, and at any moment something could just fall apart. Joe Tsai is already going at Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is already, having issues with the Nets organization, and it just seems like the writing's on the wall. It looks like this is kind of their last run, and I don't think this is going to last much longer. They're already 2-5. I don't think that this is a big fix. I'm not saying that they can't turn it around and win some games, but I don't think it's going to be because they got a new coach or not, right? They can't stop anybody defensively. Nobody can score outside of these two. It's a lot of isolation. You go, I go, you go, I go. And they have no real established identity. I've seen so many people say, they have injured players. Like TJ Warren, who hasn't played in 18 months, isn't going to come and turn around the Brooklyn Nets. They got Seth Curry back. That's great. That might help a little bit. But they're not going to all of a sudden be this legit contending team. I think there are several teams that are currently better. On paper, the Brooklyn Nets might have the best team in the entire league, but they're not playing like it. And at some point, the Brooklyn Nets are going to have to make a decision here. Do you trade Kyrie Irving? So then the big question for the Lakers is, what do you do? Do you see the disaster and the chaos that is going on with the Brooklyn Nets, and you see them just firing the head coach, and you see their 2-5 record, and you see that, and Kevin Durant's very likely going to want out? Kevin Durant himself said the reason he asked for a trade was because he didn't believe he could win in Brooklyn. And he's being proven right once again that he can't win in Brooklyn. So it's what is he going to do? Is he going to really ride this out, or is he going to start forcing his hand for a trade again? And then what are you going to do with Kyrie Irving? You going to keep Kyrie and then let him just walk? Because at this rate, he's leaving. He ain't going to stay there. He's already got Joe Tsai, going back. Him and Joe Tsai are going back and forth, fighting over Twitter and stuff. That's not going to, okay, I want to stay here. I'm going to stick around and we're going to ride this out and really go to war together. I don't. And I don't think a head coach is going to want to come in. What coach is out there that could want to come in? What, Quinn Snyder? Quinn Snyder, failed with the Utah Jazz team that was actually pretty good. And is he going to want to come in and deal with the mess and the chaos? He already struggled dealing and managing with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Imagine Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons. I mean, it's just, the Brooklyn Nets are a mess. And I just think that they need to tear it down and just start over. You tried an experiment and it didn't work. I don't blame them for trying. Every team in the league would have done the exact same thing. So there's no knocking them for trying. It just didn't work. You swung for the fences and it didn't work. If anything, the Brooklyn Nets fandom should be ecstatic that you even tried, that you want to win so badly, you're willing to do anything. But I think if you could do, and I've mentioned this before, if you could get, like, trade Kevin Durant, if you could trade him to, say, the Celtics, and you go get Marcus Smart, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown, then if I was them, I would call the Lakers and say, I want you to go get Miles Turner, and we'll trade you Kyrie Irving for Miles Turner. There you go. Maybe get like a pick swap or a couple seconds or something. There you go. Boom, you get that done. Now, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you got Marcus Smart, Ben Simmons, Jaylen Brown, Miles Turner, and Seth Curry as your starting five. That's better than this team now. You'd have a defensive identity, you'd have an offensive identity, you'd be a top 5 defense in the league, you would have shooting, you'd have scoring, you'd still have your depth, still have guys like Joe Harris, Patty Mills, Nick Claxton. I mean, this team would be much better than the team that they have right now, and you could actually build an identity. Then I could see a coach like Quinn Snyder wanting to go in and save the day. And again, if you're the Lakers, do you just ride it out? Do you just wait and say, let's wait for the Brooklyn Nets to finally go, okay, it's more than just Steve Nash, it's time to start blowing stuff up? I mean, the problem is that if the Lakers finally got their first win, and Russell Westbrook coming off the bench seems to be working, right? So if you can figure out a way to just start winning some games, like, even if you're not great, just kind of weather the storm, right? Just keep your head above water for now until you can find out what's going to happen. Because look, if you can just survive till the trade deadline, one, you're going to have so many more trade offers and so many more opportunities, because you're going to have teams that are really going to establish themselves and try to go different directions, right? You're going to have teams that are like, okay, we suck, let's rebuild. You got teams that are going to be like, hey, like, we're a little too good than we want to be. We're trying to tank. Let's unload some guys. Like, there's just going to be more options at the trade deadline, not only for the Lakers, but anybody that is a buyer. Any team that's a buyer is going to get some really good deals. So if you're the Lakers, you're just hoping and praying, just stay afloat. Just survive a little longer. Like, I wouldn't mind if the Lakers went, and I might even make a separate video about this, but I wouldn't mind if the Lakers went and, like, just traded for Miles Turner. Like, forget Buddy Hield. I know Buddy Hield has shot great shooting-wise, but, like, I think, one, Miles Turner really wants to come to the Lakers. He's made that clear. Two, he can play center, and Anthony Davis can go back to power forward, and Miles Turner wants to play center, so that's perfect. Anthony Davis doesn't want to play center, so I think if you go get them, you go get those two, you already have Russ coming off the bench, like, you could trade, say, Patrick Beverley and, like, Wenyen Gabriel and go get a Miles Turner or Damian Jones or whoever. Go get Miles Turner. Now you got Miles Turner. You got Russ coming off the bench. I think that team would be good enough to weather the storm. And then you still have a first-round pick. And not only do you still have a first-round pick, but you still have Russell Westbrook that you can move off of to maybe go do the Kyrie deal or something. You know what I mean? Like, you can work out some sort of deal, and now you have a player in Miles Turner who Brooklyn has wanted for some time and has tried to trade for him before. So I just think if you're the Lakers, that might be your best course of action to try to turn things around. But the Lakers have to stay afloat. Hopefully, Russ coming off the bench, it kind of reinvigorates his career, and the team in general. They seemed a lot like more confident, a lot better in this last game where they got their last win. But I don't know. I think if you're the Lakers, you're seeing this and you're thinking like, man, maybe we should wait. Can we just ride it out? It also depends. See, luckily for the Lakers, there's like, you're not that far removed. Like, all the teams are right there, right? Like, most of the teams in the Western Conference are all like 2-4, 3-4. Like, you're not that far removed. Like, they're only 2 games out of like 5th place right now. So as bad as they look, you're still in a good position. And like 3 of the top 4 teams are all teams that everyone thought were tanking. The Spurs, the Jazz. You have these teams that are purposely or supposedly purposely trying to tank and blew it up for Victor Wembanyama, and they're in the top 3 seeds. Outside of the Phoenix Suns, nobody that's supposed to be a legit like playoff team and contender is in the top 4 right now. So if you're the Lakers, you're looking at it as like, we're still in a decent position. If we could just win like 4 out of our next 5 or 6, we're in the race. We're still in the playoffs. And then if you can work out a deal and maybe go get a Kyrie Irving, I think that, I think that that's might be what you need to do. Because here's the thing too, this free agency coming up is not much better. The well is already dried up. And now the guys, like the role guys that you were hoping to sign, like Bojan Bogdanovic, just signed a 2-year extension. So he's off the market now. Yeah, you could go and maybe get Miles Turner in the offseason. But like, you have all this cap space for what? There's nobody out there in free agency that can come and make you a legit contender. But if you could go get Kyrie Irving and maybe work out a small deal here and there, like the Lakers have options. Like the beauty of Patrick Beverley is he's a $13 million expiring contract. So there's going to be value in him to where you could get some pieces, right? Like look, the Indiana Pacers, all they want is assets for Miles Turner. That's it. They just don't want to lose Miles Turner for nothing. So if you could just take Patrick Beverley and go get Miles Turner, and you'd still have Russell Westbrook, right? Then he's already embracing the 6-man role. Let him operate and run as the 6th man, and then try to go, wait and see what you get get at the trade deadline. You might actually be able to like really turn this thing around. And even if you don't get Kyrie Irving, you'd still have Russell Westbrook. You could go do like the Hornets deal or maybe a Jazz deal or something like that, and you could still go get Miles Turner. And I personally wouldn't mind, like if they swap Patrick Beverley for Miles Turner, I would love that. Because Patrick Beverley isn't having the impact we thought he would, and we have a plethora of point guards, right? We got Dennis Schroeder coming back. Imagine Schroeder, Walker, LeBron, Davis, and Miles Turner. That's a better starting 5 than you have now. And then you have Russell Westbrook, 18-8-8, coming off the bench. Come on. Like, that's great. And then you could just wait and be patient and see what you could do with Kyrie Irving. Like, that's fantastic. I think that would be a much better position for the Lakers to be in. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think? Do you think the Lakers should be patient and see what happens with Kyrie Irving? Do you think no? If there's a deal on the table now, take the deal now. However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below.